I want you all to remember these dorsal fins and how they look, because this is going to play into one of my many questions with the next Godzilla related review that we'll be doing next week. Welcome to part 3 of my Bandai Movie Monster series Lost Monster Tetralogy miniseries. Today we will be talking about Kiryu, or Mechagodzilla 3. This is the version that was released in 2016 with the re-sculpted hand. I kinda wish they just would have released this figure with the drill. It just would have looked better, honestly, because this hand just looks a little out of place kinda-ish, but I guess it's supposed to because they built a whole new arm for him in the movie. This is the first and only recently released Kiryu to feature the red streaks. I don't know why the heavy paint apps version didn't have that. And I would say this is probably the best and most painted recent standard release of Kiryu, as the heavy arms Kiryu doesn't have the red streaks and it kind of feels like it has even less paint, and I'm not counting the heavy paint applications version because that's not a standard release. Moving on into this very whimsical looking tag over here. I love the way Kiryu looks. He looks very gallant amongst this very blue weird effect that's going on around him. I like it. I like it a lot. The back of the tag doesn't have much going on save for Kiryu's dorsal fins over here, and that is interesting. Opening the tag up, we get what we normally get on the inside of a Movie Monsters tag. Let's can this little sardine. Canned it! So, standard not backpack wearing Kiryu. What else could I possibly say about this specific mold that I haven't said before? I really enjoy the red streaks on this figure, and I wish more of them had that. Yeah, that's a good start. Yeah, I'm not sure why heavy paint apps or heavy arms Kiryu decided to absolutely neglect the red streaks and or tears. Kiryu doesn't feel complete without them, personally. But then again, he also doesn't feel all that complete with the lack thereof paint. But at this point, we're all pretty much used to it by now. What's painted is beautiful. What isn't painted, I wish was painted. I've said it so many times. In taking a look at the new arm, though, I know I said that this looks very obvious and a little odd, but I actually really do like the fact that this hand is longer than this hand, just because it does look like they just made him a new arm and gave him a transformium infused hand that'll turn into a drill. I don't know, that's a neat little distinction there, because as you can see, yeah, the fingers are much lower hanging than they are over here. Originally, I just thought that was just some laze by Bandai, but no, that is perfectly normal, and I must say, the detail on this arm, on the figure in general, is very, very impressive. I just wish more of it was outfitted with, you know, more paint. You got the portion under the Kiryu titties moving into the waist and everything, and you see all this magnificent detail being outlined by paint, and we've got the frickin' triangles! Oh! Why aren't they on the arm over here? Why aren't they on the arm over here? Questions, but they really don't need to be there, honestly. The detail is of the toppest tier, and the application for the red triangles is both really great and a little off, but still really great. Again, magnificent and whimsical detail, and most of the portions of this figure that could have used more paint is honestly just on the sides and on the back of the figure, and don't think I'm forgetting about you, Mr. Tail. This thing is totally blank. On all ends, this tail is totally blank, but hey, yo, love the detail on the bottom of the feet and on the bottom of the tail. Bandai, I really want to know what you have against painting tails, either at all or all the way to the tip of the tail. Pretty much everywhere you'd expect to not see paint, you're not going to see paint. Just lots of very, very nice detail. Oh, yeah. Now, I made it a talking point to remember how these dorsal fins look. And I'm just going to show you all a nice close-up before we get into the next point that I want to talk about. Look at these dorsal fins. You see how the spikes are over here? You see that? You see how nice and even they look? What in the heck is going on here? Why? Why are they doing the YMCA now? Granted, yes, you know, you're sizing something down and, you know, things are gonna run into each other and have the possibility of doing that, but look at all of the space in between this one and that one. I imagine that's why they changed it, but it's like, why not just retool the mold a little bit more so you can actually put out something that's a little bit more accurate looking other than this? I don't know. The heavy paint apps and the heavy arms Kiryu have the same exact thing going about them. I didn't notice this weird little change until I got the 8-inch figure in, but yeah, all of these are strangely like this. Just to showcase, here is heavily armed Kiryu, and here is one of the dorsal fins with this on top instead of the side. And as you can see, they're like that on the inside row as well. One on top, one on the side. And yeah, it's starting to look like they did that solely for space issues, but why this one then? This one would have been perfectly fine, and it's not like these figures turn at the waist. So, yeah, that. It never bothered me until I actually looked at the 8-inch figure. And speaking of which, they didn't do no detail on the thruster back here. But they did it on Heavy Arms Kiryu. Bandai, what the heck? I really can't defend you on this one. That's just weird. Despite the oddly sculpted dorsal fins and the detailless jetpack on the back of the figure, what details are still here on this figure are magnificent, and what little paint is still on this figure is magnificent as well. So I will have to give paint and detail 2 solid stars now. Let's move on over into articulation. He can spin at the head. Both arms can go all the way around. Nothing at the waist, nothing at the legs. Tail can rotate all the way around. Dang, I'm gonna miss that torso swivel. And I miss even more the fact that this isn't a drill because his hand doesn't spin. Pretty basic for a modern day Bandai offering, I must say. I'll give it a solid star. It's serviceable. Now hold on a second. The video ain't over because I need to do a really big comparison. So as we all know, the 8-inch Kiryu over here was eventually re-released as a 6-inch version, which is essentially this guy, just without the drill. And I was just curious to see how much is missing from the 6-inch version that is on the 8-inch version. Let's check it out. First off, we have paint in Kiryu's pit over here. This Kiryu does not feature that paint. Back of 8-inch Kiryu's head is painted. Back of 6-inch Kiryu's head is not painted. Painted, not painted. Painted, not painted. Painted, not painted. Paint under the titty plates, no paint under the titty plates. Titty stamp, no titty stamp. Paint and detail on the back thrusters or jets. No paint and no detail on the back thrusters and or jets. Detail where the arm meets torso. No detail where the arm meets torso. In fact, he doesn't have it, and he doesn't have it either. Triangle on bicep, no triangle on bicep, though I do feel that is mostly due to the mounted on wrist lasers that Kiryu has. No triangle on bicep. Red streak on the drill arm, no red streak on the drill arm. And we can't forget the fully painted tail and the fully unpainted tail. They both feature a lot of the same details, they just don't feature the same amount of paint, and I find that to be a bit of a bummer. But I guess that's just Bandai today. Now that was unneeded, yes, but I did want to do that just to showcase just how much this mold is pretty much not aged the best over time. The 8-inch version definitely had so much more to look at, so much more paint to marvel at. And since I don't own the 2004 or 2005 6-inch version, the one that this one was essentially based off of, I really can't say if that one's any better, although I imagine it's probably just like this one, only it has a drill. But that would be me assuming. Either way, I do highly suggest picking this figure up because despite not being exactly like its original form, it's still a great figure. It still looks awesome, and I, again, high recommend, especially for Kiryu fans. High recommend. 3 solid stars across the board. Lovely figure despite lacking so much. Patrons, thank you so much for becoming ShinRobjira patrons. You should all check out my social media and merch pages for more ShinRobjira stuff. And I have no idea what I'm talking about next. You all probably know more than I do at this point. But I do so hope you enjoyed this review of the standard Kiryu figure from the Movie Monster series. And we've got one more left, Godzilla 2000. So whether that's what I'm talking about next or not, I don't know. But I will see you all with the next video. Peace out, everybody.